Namaskar. Dear students, welcome to this first segment of a series of lectures on William Shakespeare's much loved play, The Merchant of Venice. And I think the best way to understand this play would be to begin with the very beginning. That is, the opening scene of this beautiful play, The Merchant of Venice. Some of the important features of the play are that this opening scene sets the tone of the play. Actually, I think all of you already know that William Shakespeare was a master at creating beautiful opening scenes which had the ability to incorporate all these four features which I have laid down before you. And the opening scene of this play is no exception. It sets the tone of the play at the very outset. It carries the seed of the main plot. This opening scene introduces the main characters of the play, and of course, it does not fail to capture the attention of the audience. These are the four major characteristics of the opening scenes of all Shakespeare's plays. Let us see how this is done in this particular play, The Merchant of Venice. I'll be taking up each feature separately. The tone of the play. This play, as you know, is a tragi-comedy. That is, it contains the elements of both a tragedy, that is a serious play, and that of a comedy. And the opening lines reflect both the moods of sadness and gaiety. This is the wonder of the scene. We meet Antonio, and what are the opening lines? Antonio says, "In sooth, I know not why I am so sad." An opening like this should prepare the audience to come up with something which is full of seriousness and grief and all. But look at the responses that such a statement arouse, in this play. When Antonio says, "I know not why I am so sad," he invites colorful responses from his friends. If you remember, one of them says that, "Oh, your merchant ships are there on the sea, and had I been in your place, I would have, felt tortured even if the breeze was a little stronger than usual." And so much so that one of them even tells him that maybe you are in love and you are not happy because you are sad, and you are sad because you are not happy. These kind of responses prepare us for a comic treatment of the entire episode. This way, Shakespeare, gives it a masterly touch and incorporates the elements of both a tragedy as well as a comedy in the very opening scene. And then, of course, although Antonio continues to profess that he is sad, plans to celebrate and enjoy are also hinted at. There's some festival, and talks of a masque go on between Bassanio and Gratiano, and then they all say, "Okay, when will we meet? When will we sit together and have dinner?" and things like that. So I should say that this opening scene brilliantly sets the tone of the play, The Merchant of Venice, which happens to be a tragi-comedy. Again, the seeds of the main plot are there for all of us to see at the very beginning. At the very beginning, there is a reference to Antonio's huge ships with his merchandise in transit on the sea, and the uncertainty of their fate is also hinted at. When Antonio says that he is sad, his friends are reminded of the fact that he is a huge, successful businessman with his large ships there on the sea. And the difference between him and his friends, that comes out into the open. The friends are all in awe of Antonio, who is the richest of them all. Of course, because they are at sea, there is always an element of fear, danger, and some kind of risk is always involved. Hence, the uncertainty is hinted at. Bassanio comes on the stage in the opening, in the scene only, and he admits to having been irresponsible in the past, where his financial status is concerned, and yet he comes and requests his friend Antonio to lend him money to woo Portia. At first sight, it seems quite odd. Bassanio confesses that he has already taken some kind of loan from Antonio in the past also, which he has not been able to return. But still, he expresses his desire for more money. What does this tell us? It brings to light the beautiful bond of friendship that is there between Antonio and Bassanio. Only a friend can be so open, admit to his faults, and yet seek help from another friend. It's a beautiful opening scene. And Antonio, look at him. You can see the signs of greatness in his personality, in his character at the very beginning. Even though Antonio says that he is not equipped with ready cash at that moment, he doesn't think twice. He doesn't even pause for a second before offering Bassanio that, okay, go ahead, go into the market, take a loan on my credit, in my name. He's ready for that. He's so sure of his own business prowess, and he knows that his ships are there and he's going to get his merchandise soon and he'll be able to trade it all, and he's a rich man. He knows he doesn't have to depend upon petty calculations, and he offers readily his help to Bassanio, which of course Bassanio is all eager to accept. Then this play introduces all the main characters in its very opening scene. Although, on the stage, we meet only a few of them. For instance, there's Antonio, and there's Bassanio, and there's Graciano and Lorenzo, and there is Salarino, Selenio. All these people come on the stage in the very opening scene. But they are not talking only about themselves all the time. Although physically only these friends are there, but we hear Bassanio talk about the beautiful Portia, and he spares no word of praise, in describing her. And he's full of his plans to woo her, to court her, to seek her hand in marriage. And then, of course, Antonio talks of his intention of borrowing money on Bassanio's behalf. That, in those times, that must have prepared the audience for the presence of a moneylender in the entire story. So, even though Portia and Shylock are not there physically on the stage in that scene, they are introduced to us. Rather, the audience is prepared to see them soon. And of course, the opening scene, like those of the other celebrated plays of Shakespeare, the opening scene of this play also succeeds in capturing the interest of the audience. The conversation regarding Antonio's ships and their fate arouses the interest of the audience. Because that conversation already puts Antonio on a higher pedestal than all the rest of the friends. That conversation brings to light Antonio's great love for his friend Bassanio and his willingness to help him. And suddenly, the interest of the audience is aroused. They want to know more about him, about Bassanio. And of course, when Bassanio, waxes poetry on Portia's beauty, he talks about her beauty, he celebrates her beauty, he talks about how different suitors from all over the world are coming over to woo her, to propose marriage to her. Every person in the audience, every reader is eager to meet her. We all want to meet her actually. And the intention to borrow money from a money lender prepares the audience. Students, please remember that the audience of those times, when it must have been presented before the queen, when it was written, this play was written, the audience of that time was more than prepared to expect something very difficult at the mere mention of a moneylender. Aren't you reminded of the movies which we used to see long back, movies made in Dilip Kumar's time and Nirupa Roy's time? They all talked about moneylenders and how they would force families out of their homes and all. The mere mention of a moneylender, introduced this idea into the minds of the audience and the readers that something wrong was going to happen. Things would not be so smooth as all appears to be, even though Antonio is quite confident that he doesn't really need all this. He doesn't really need to worry about it. But yes, the audience and the reader of today also, is always worried by the very fact that Antonio is being forced to borrow money to accommodate his friend's needs. So, dear students, I hope I have been able to help you in understanding the opening scene and its significance of the play The Merchant of Venice. Thank you.